Hi, I'm Andrew Berman, and you're watching NMP TV. We've got a video press release, and today I've got the executive chairman and founder of WFG, Patrick Stone. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. Always love to spend time with you.
My pleasure, Andrew. Glad to be here.
So, a reason why we're meeting today. WFG recently announced the expansion of the quarterly economic outlook webinar series to a full hour format. So tell me, what brought about the initial creation of the webinar series? And I got to ask, how did you get the legendary Bill Connolly as your co-host?
Well, what happened here is that we tried doing webinars where I speak to a screen. And, I do a lot of public speaking. I probably have averaged 12 to 15 presentations a year around the country about real estate, how the economy is impacting real estate, what I see is happening. Doing those to a screen on a Zoom call or on a webinar is somewhat limiting because you don't have any audience feedback and you don't really know if you're addressing the audience questions. So we came up with the idea of doing a Q&A, and I've been friends with Bill Connolly now for almost 40 years. And we were having coffee one time, and I said, would you be interested in participating in a Q&A with me, a webinar series for our title agents, where we have them submit questions, and we answer those questions or try to give them the best guidance we can. And he said, sure, let's do it. So we started out by doing it for just title agents, and we started out doing it on a half-hour format. We solicited questions, and he and I would take turns answering the questions. He focused mostly on the economic questions. I focused mostly on the real estate questions. And then we both corrected each other, which we've been doing for 40 years. So Bill is a very, very bright guy. He's a wonderful economist. He's one of the few economists I know that actually will tell you what he thinks and not put a bunch of caveats in it or qualify every remark. Most economists are trained to never take a firm stance. Bill Connolly will tell you what he thinks. He is a business economist. He understands that when people ask a question, they want an answer. We went to an hour because we've had great success with this, and we want to make it available to all our clients all over the country. Ask the questions that are bothering you. We'll do our best to give you an answer that is useful and will help you make business decisions.
All right, well, listen, hopefully if you're watching this now, you're going to make sure that you sign up so you don't miss the next installment. But can you tell us what were the major revelations in your opinion that came out of the 2021 series?
Well, there were quite a few things that came about. I mean, one of the things that happens when we go out and ask people for questions, we get a lot of questions in certain areas. So it showed us what people are concerned about. And it also showed me that people are really desperate for real information. The media has gotten to the point where it tries to capture eyes, clicks, whatever. It is more interested in creating a demand for its product than it is actually telling you what's going on. And I don't mean that as an insult to you or anybody, but basically it's very hard unless an individual has the time and training to find out answers. It's very hard to really know what's going on. So the revelation to me was just really how desperate people were for specific information. And so Bill and I have gotten really, really focused on providing real answers and giving people information they can make decisions on. I think the other revelation that came about was that people just had a hard time believing that the refi boom is going to be as big as it was. And I hopefully we helped a lot of people participate in it and make some money.
Yep. Well, when things rise, they all have to fall too. So listen, going into 2022, we know the housing market, faces kind of a similar set of challenges, but with rising interest rates, that's going to happen. We know that I just got an alert on my phone. We got rising interest rates. How will this impact the market? And, will you be addressing such issues, in the webinar series this year?
Absolutely. This all comes under the heading of affordability. And affordability is a question mark at all times. And affordability is a reflection of the price of the home, the income of the potential borrower, and the interest rate. And that determines whether or not it's affordable. So interest rates are going up. Housing prices have been going up. Fortunately, incomes have been going up. Where they get out of proportion and create a lessening affordability, we're starting to see that happen, unfortunately. So we'll talk about that. We'll address it. But one thing I would mention here, and I think it's really important for people to understand, is that housing appreciation does not occur at the same rate in every location or in every price range. And we get the media talking about the Case-Shiller index, and it showed housing prices going up 20% last year. Well, if you look at the median housing price and how much it went up, was about 15.8%. And it varied greatly. The West was only 8.4%. The South was over 20%. So we try to give people information that they can use and really understand what's happening. But affordability will be a conversation in every presentation this year.
Well, so another thing, actually, I think that's going to be in a conversation is, listen, because of the pandemic, the once primarily in-person title process went completely arm's length. Now you've gone on record saying that people actually prefer to sign in person. I mean, what's your prediction? Do you think actually that we're going to still keep things remote? Do you think we'll shift back to a in-person? Do you think there's going to be a balance?
Well, here's an interesting perspective for you. The transaction didn't go completely arm's length. The amount of bond closings, the amount of true e-closings is actually surprisingly small compared to the amount of noise around it. I think what will happen, and what I expect to see happen, is you'll see refis become virtually, we rely virtually on e-closing, because refis are easier to do that way. There's less questions on the part of the borrower and also the lender. So the closings, I think refinance closings will become very, very automated and actually morph to an e-closing environment fairly quickly. Resales, I still think people who are buying their first home or even buying another home really have a lot of questions, and there's a lot of documents to sign. Most people do not feel sophisticated enough or do it often enough to be comfortable without asking questions. So that in-person closing on a resale will continue for the foreseeable future.
All right. So listen, I got one more question. I want to talk to you about this. So we talked about the boom, the refi boom, as it's going to slow down, as we're already starting to see a major slowdown. What could lenders do for their business now that the end of the boom is set?
Well, there's still going to be some refi. It's down about 50% from last year, and I think it will continue to abate. But there will be some refi. But if I'm a lender, I'm looking at two things. Home equity loans are going to go up dramatically. There is a tremendous amount of equity out there in American homes, and people are going to access that capital. So I think getting into home equity lending is important. And then the other thing I encourage every lender to do is talk to your service providers, figure out how you can eliminate rekeying data and making the process so cumbersome. Right now, virtually every participant in the process inputs the same data over and over and over again. It takes a long time, it's cumbersome, it's awkward. And I think a lot of major lenders are focusing on this, and I think it's to the benefit of everybody.
That's fantastic. Pat, it's always great to spend time. You always get some great insights, and appreciate you sharing actually what your takeaways from the 2021 series. And we're really looking forward to seeing what more gems you're going to come up with, both you and Bill Connolly, for the 2022 quarterly economic outlook. Pat, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Andrew. You have a good one.
Oh, and before we go, where can our audience sign up for the future webinars?
I think talk to your WFG rep or go online in WFG, and you will find a good place to sign up.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to put it right down here, so you'll actually be able to see it right down there. Fantastic. All right, Pat, always great to spend time with you again. And I'm Andrew Berman. Thank you for watching.